Hello everybody, this is Tetrafolium back to explain my preparation for Game 4 of the Turn 17 Rocks Draft League against the Grafted Grafaiais. This is the toughest matchup that I've had so far, both in terms of the player that I have to play against and the team that I match up against. Let's start by listing out his threats. Firstly, his most powerful Pokemon is Walking Wake, um, the Paradox Suicune. It has a dangerous 125 base special attack and a devious 109 speed, which is naturally faster than almost all of my Pokemon. It has the potentially brutal photosynthesis ability. Thankfully, he doesn't have Torkoal to pair with this Pokemon, but that doesn't mean he couldn't still run Sun, and it doesn't mean the rest of his team doesn't complement the Walking Wake well. His next three Pokemon, Iron Treads, Talonflame, and Annihilate, form a formidable core with high utility options such as setting hazards and removing hazards. Additionally, uh, Talonflame can spread burns to my team, which will be devastating on some of my Pokemon. Overall, they have very strong defenses. Annihilate is perhaps a little strong for a UU pick, but anybody could have taken it, so I can't complain too much. If I want to beat his team, I'll need to bust holes through this defensive core. To round out his team, he might choose from Grafaiais, his team mascot, Gardevoir, or Frogadier. Frogadier gives him access to both spikes and toxic spikes, as well as a highly spammable Hydro Pump. Gardevoir is particularly dangerous with a Choice Scarf set, as it will outspeed all of my Pokemon unless I boost with Quiver Dance. Finally, Grafaiais is an annoying little rodent that can spread poisons, steal my items, and lock me into or out of moves that I may need to win the game. Additionally, he has Bronzong, Cloth, and Jolteon. These Pokemon are all particularly low power, and they match up horribly into my Agency Pyramid plus Agent Peepers core. While Bronzong maybe not so much, it totally is set up fodder for my Volcarona. So I don't anticipate him to bring those. Still, I'll keep them in mind just to make sure that I'm not caught off guard. Now let's talk about my team. First, the EV spreads. Agent Mothman, I gave it just enough speed to outspeed max speed Cloth. And if it gets to +2, it'll outspeed a boosted Walking Wake, which means either a photosynthesis boost or a Choice Scarf boost. I don't anticipate him to run the agility set, but if he does, that could be annoying. For Agency Pyramid, I decided to go with max special defense with Curse and Earthquake. Uh, he changed his Terra Captain recently to Walking Wake with Water and Poison, much to my dismay. Um, as it stands, I'll need Earthquake just in case to get about 50% damage on a defensive Walking Wake, or more if he's purely offensive. And Salt Cure, of course, is very spammable. I decided to use a Kebia Berry to take less damage from Poison-type moves. This may come in handy against Walking Wake or against Grafaiais. I could have also opted to go for the Babiri Berry, I believe it's called, to take less damage from Steel-type moves, like from Iron Treads. But I figure that I have better Iron Tread switch-ins than Poison switch-ins, so the Kebia Berry is of the utmost importance. Next I have Agent Peepers, who I have just enough speed to outspeed a timid Gardevoir. Not faster than a Scarf Gardevoir, keep in mind, but at least enough to outspeed the timid Gardevoir. Then I put the rest into HP and special defense. If he manages to set the sun up, Agent Peepers will get a special defense boost. which will help me combat a potential boosted Walking Wake. And I guarantee Liv a Terra Blast Poison, which is good to know. I toyed around with the idea of running more speed than Annihilate, but I figured that his Annihilate would either run max bulk, in which case I don't need that much speed, or he would run a Scarf, in which case I can't outspeed it. Next I have Agent Showgirl. I have just enough speed so that if I get to +1 via a Quiver Dance, I will outspeed a timid Walking Wake. Additionally, I chose the item Blunder Policy just in case I click Hurricane on an incoming Walking Wake and miss. I will get a +2 speed boost, ensuring that I'll be able to throw off another Hurricane. I have max HP, or almost max HP, which allows me to survive any hit from Iron Treads as long as it's not Stone Edge. Next, we'll talk about Agent Wisdom, who I ran just enough speed on with a Choice Scarf to outspeed an unboosted Timid Walking Wake. If he terastallizes into a poison type, my Earthquake will be doing upwards of 60 to 70%. So if I get a bit of chip on him, I'll be able to hopefully come in, surprise him, and get the KO. I also have Zen Headbutt in case I need to click it against Annihilate, and I will be faster than Annihilate so long as it's not also Scarf. Liquidation is good to hit a potential Cloth, or if I'm being serious with myself, Iron Treads or Talonflame. And I have Spikes just in case I have no good move, or I think he's going to switch and have the opportunity to get them up. Finally, making his Agency Pyramid's debut, I'm bringing the Rock.
If you smell what the Rock is cooking.
This set has a Lumberry so that I don't get burned by Talonflame. Potentially also staves off a poison from Grafaiais, though I don't necessarily mind poison as much as a burn. The set that I'm running has just enough speed to outspeed a timid Gardevoir. I maximized the attack with an Adamant Nature to give me extreme amounts of damage. And I have the moves Bulk Up, Close Combat, Stone Edge, and Zen Headbutt. Close Combat is a strong stab move. It will hit Iron Treads very hard, as well as a very good damage against a neutral Grafaiais. Stone Edge is to hit Talonflame. It will guarantee kill Talonflame even if it is 252 HP, 252 defense with a plus defense nature. And Zen Headbutt is to get the most damage possible on Annihilate, as well as be a good mid-ground play in case I can't spam my close combat. Overall, this team is not ideal. I don't feel extremely confident about it, but I think I've got a decent chance with some decently strong offensive pressure and some okay pivots. I really hope that the Rock pulls through for me. This was the slot that was the hardest for me to pick. I almost gave it to Skunk Tank, but I figured that his team is not that weak to Toxic Spikes, so instead I opted to go for a Pokemon that switches in better to Iron Treads. So, wish me luck, and I hope this is a good battle. Alright, so now we're getting into the battle. I picked the music for the battles depending on how I felt the battle went. I was being very disrespectful to two of my opponents by picking early route music. They were pretty light work like that. One of my opponents was also light work, but I gave him Persona music because his name is a Persona reference. I'm choosing the Legends Arceus versus Giratina theme because this battle was scary. It was very scary. I anticipated it being very scary. In any case, if we look at the 6 Mons that he brought, they're almost exactly what I thought. The only other Pokemon that I thought he might bring is Frogadier. I don't know who he would have put it in for. Maybe in for Gardevoir. But that kind of... you're stifling your offensive pressure for the sake of setting spikes. He doesn't know this, but all of you who have just seen the preparation do. I don't have Defog on this team, and he has Iron Treads with knockoff. Well, or he could have knockoff. I don't know that for sure, but potentially he could have knockoff. If he knocks my Volcarona's heavy-duty boots off and gets the rocks up, I'm screwed. Now, that was calculated on my part. I sort of figured I need Volcarona to kill Iron Treads, and I will... and if I get that kill, I'm kind of satisfied with it, and I can afford Volcarona going down. If I manage to get Volcarona to kill Iron Treads after Talonflame has gone down, I can just sweep. That's totally fine. I don't really care about the hazards at that point. But yeah, I had to take a lot of calculated risks in the team builder, and as we'll see, I had to take a lot of calculated risks in the game as well. So let's just get started. I lead Screamtail here because I'm afraid of him leading Walking Wake into any of my Pokemon who cannot deal with Walking Wake, which is 5 out of 6 of my Pokemon. He leads Iron Treads, which is a very normal lead, very orthodox sort of idea. Just gonna get the rocks up early. I cannot afford to let him get a Iron Head off on Peepers. Also, my best move to hit it is Psychic, which gives me nothing. So I'm gonna switch into the Rock. If you smell... Yeah, I don't know. I don't do it nearly as good as Dwayne. One thing that's nice about the Rock is I have Intimidate. One thing that's not nice about the Rock is I have Intimidate. So every time Gardevoir comes out and traces my Intimidate, that's the Rock with -1. I knew he was going to switch. There's no shot that he stays in with Iron Treads. It's a Pokemon that matches up so well versus Garganical, or rather the Agency Pyramid, that there's no chance. So I read the switch. I go for Stone Edge, which is what's going to do the most damage to Gardevoir, who I expected to come out. 36 is pretty good. What that told me is that he's not running any investment into bulk, which Gardevoirs usually don't. But that confirms to me that he's probably some kind of choice, because that's what Gardevoir should be running. I switch to Screamtail, and I eat a Moonblast for 42%, and I go, yikes, that's a lot of damage. But that is Specs damage, so it's good to know. I could have switched into a Trick, and after the battle, my opponent, Captain of the Grafted Grafaiais, truly Alex O, told me he did have Trick and he was thinking about clicking it here on turn 3. My sort of thought process was, I can't really switch in any of my other Pokemon, not even Oricorio. So I could switch in Garganical with a max Spadef, but if he's tricking, I really, really can't afford Garganical to have the trick. So if he's gonna trick anybody, the choice specs, I'd rather it be Agent Peepers, and at the very least, I'm gonna get a stronger psychic off. If I can manage to kill Iron Treads, I may have like a alternative win con, maybe. Although Peepers is slower than everything on his team except possibly Annihilate, so it would have been a very difficult matchup if he did trick. Thankfully he didn't. I don't disagree with his play to just Moonblast. You never know what on my team might do something. I'm just gonna get my HP back. I'll go hard to Garganical, the Agency Pyramid here, into a Gunk Shot. I don't care about Gunk Shot poison because, well, Purifying Salt means I won't get poisoned. I'm just gonna go for a Salt Cure here. And my worst fear has come true. This is a Covert Cloak Iron Treads to counter my Garganical. I kind of figured he would run Covert Cloak on either Walking Wake or Iron Treads, but I don't know. I could have went for Earthquake there. It would have covered Grafaiais staying in and a switch to the Treads. My problem was I wasn't sure if Talonflame would come in hindsight. I probably should have just Quaked anyway. I think I would have all the info I needed if he switches hard into Iron Treads. You know, not needing to 100% confirm that he has the Covert Cloak, because if he, goes hard Treads on Garganical, who could just be clicking Salt Cure, of course it's got the Covert Cloak, but yeah, my suspicions are confirmed here. I can just go to the Rock. I take basically nothing from an Iron Head. He goes to Renala the Gardevoir. I get a Stone Edge off here, and now I'm thinking, what should I do? I know that he specs, so I know that I outspeed because I have just enough speed to outspeed a timid Gardevoir. If he goes to Treads, that's not fantastic for me. If he goes to Annihilate, that's also not fantastic for me. But I don't really have a great play, so I just want to stay in an attack. And on the off chance that he stays in with Gardevoir, I'm just going to click Stone Edge because it's the only attack that I have that will kill Gardevoir. 80% of the time, this works out all the time, unless he switches, and then it might not matter. But he doesn't switch, he just stays in and sacks the Gardevoir. I understand being aggressive. I understand, maybe you don't know that but that the Rock is faster than Gardevoir, per se, but, I think it's important not to risk that there. I don't think that giving up the guard is quite the right play. You could always save it at least for a sack, and if not, it is still really strong with specs. But that's a big pickup for me. Now he goes to Annihilate here. I'm getting ready for it to start bulking up in my face. So I click bulk up myself, but then he U-turns here. So when he U-turns, that all but confirms to me that he's the Scarf Annihilate set. So that means he's going to run max HP and max speed. He's got Final Gambit as one of his moves. It's a very scary set. Because the only Pokemon on my team that has enough HP to survive a max HP Annihilate Final Gambit is Screamtail, but it lives it with 10 HP, and wouldn't you know it, rocks do more than 10 damage to Screamtail. So if it comes down to Last Mon Annihilate versus Last Mon any of my Pokemon, I will lose this game. Well, unless Oricorio or Volcarona, Showgirl or Mothman are faster than the Annihilate. Yeah, because otherwise you wouldn't have U-turn, basically, is the thought process here. I get a bulk up here. if I'm +1 defense versus Iron Treads, I really don't mind staying in and clicking to attack it. I don't know if I don't know for sure that he'll stay in. I have a sneaking suspicion that he might switch to Talonflame here, but he knows I have Stone Edge, so I'm not certain. I'm just gonna go for close combat to hit what's in front of me. I do a solid 42, and I get burned. But thankfully I have the Lumberry, so that reduces some of the hacks that might have been at play there. 42 is a really interesting roll because I was thinking that he might be running a very, very defensive Talonflame, but that's not that much defense. It's a lot less than like your OU defensive utility Talonflame set or your UU defensive Talonflame. So I'm thinking, okay, this has got to have some pretty good offensive pressure, offensive damage. So I'm going to go hard to Gark. Brave Bird does practically nothing. He can't Will-O-Wisp me. Flare Blitz is not going to do anything. So I'm going to get a free heal here, basically. I could have clicked Earthquake to get damage on Iron Treads, but I really didn't think that it would be worth it. I think HP on the Agency Pyramid is going to be much more important for me going forward in this matchup. In any case, we'll play this out. I cannot stay in. I go to Showgirl here. Now, Showgirl has enough HP so that I really don't have to worry about Iron Head. It's like a 3-hit, it's a 4-hit KO. It's not, yeah, never a 3-hit KO. I mean, after rocks, of course, there's a chance for a 3-hit KO. I'm going to stay in and click Roost, just to see what he has. If he didn't have Stone Edge, I knew he couldn't touch me, but he did have Stone Edge, and he gets a crit there. That doesn't matter, I don't think. I could have made the play to switch hard into the Rock, which is probably a good play. It would have saved my Showgirl. I could have brought it in as a sack against something else, or possibly get damage in against something else, but I don't know. Everything on this team outspeeds me. So, I'm going to go into the Rock right here. So it does save a little bit of damage from Stone Edge, but Stone Edge would do basically nothing to the Rock. I should have scouted for it. I go for Zen Headbutt here, thinking that he's going to go hard to Annihilate, because he knows that I have Close Combat, which can't touch Annihilate, and Stone Edge, which doesn't do that much to Annihilate. But he goes instead to Talonflame. That's really bad for me. I don't kill with a Zen Headbutt, and if I get burned here again, then the Rock is basically useless. But I get an Agency crit. Super duper Agency. And I say, can you smell what the Rock is cooking? This guy says it doesn't kill without a crit, does it? The answer is yes. Or no, it does not kill. If he had no defensive investment, it was a roll. But yeah, he did have some defense, as evident by the close combat. Now, does this hacks matter? It matters a little bit, because I'm gonna have to switch to Garg on whatever the Talonflame does. If he goes hard Iron Treads, then I don't have a great play if he like doubles to Iron Treads. If he stays in and just clicks Brave Bird, which he might do, and it's not a bad play, because you can't afford for the Rock to stay in and click a close combat versus Iron Treads. Then I would get Earthquake damage versus Iron Treads. I can switch the Rock back in, which I think will live 2 more Iron Heads. and then I get to force a 50-50 with close combat onto Iron Treads or Zen Headbutt into all the rest of his Pokemon, which will do a lot. But good news for us, we don't have to worry about Talonflame anymore, is the long and the short of the crit. The game would have been probably a bit more interesting and a lot more stressful for both of us if the crit didn't happen. But now he gets a switch into the Ancestor Spirit, and he goes for Pump. And I see Pump, and I think, that's not Hydro Steam. So what is his set? I've got no idea. If he's running Choice Scarf, or if he's running Choice Specs, or if he's running Substitute. Substitute would be really scary versus my Garg. But I'm gonna let the Rock go. It doesn't do much versus 3 of his 4. I could save it for Treads, but if Treads gets some Earthquake plays right, it might not ultimately help me. Plus, I don't know who to switch in. Screamtail won't take a Hydro Pump plus a Terra Poison, so like I just have to let something go here, and I let the Rock go. Now I go to the Agency Pyramid, and this is the showdown right here. His Terra Captain versus my Terra Captain. We're both here. We're both could Terra. We both could not Terra. It's a tough call. He decides to Terra. I decide to Terra. Then he goes for Hydro Pump. So this is probably the best that this turn could have played out for me, because I predict him to Terra and Earthquake for a solid 47, which tells me that he's defensive. Because otherwise he would take a lot more than that. If he was fully offensive with like no defensive investment, he would be taking almost 80%. But he only takes 47. So Pump there is the least damage, probably the least damaging move that he has. Well, aside from, I don't know, Flamethrower, which he's never clicking versus the Agency Pyramid. If he clicked Terra Blast Poison, I did have the Kebia Berry, so I would have lived it, but it would have used up my Kebia Berry, and since I've now Terra Fairy'd, I will be struggling against a Grafaiais Gunk Shot. Fairy is a lot better against Annihilate, and it is the only play I could have made. Well, I would have lived a Hydro Pump, but I would have been at like 11%. So that would have been really bad. This is probably the best play that the best that this could have worked out, unless he missed Hydro Pump. That would have been better. But we can't ask for all the hacks in the world, right? I also thought about Salt Curing, but if he switched to Treads, then Salt Cure got me nothing out of the turn, and I would have been Terra Fairy in against Treads, which is arguably worse than... Well, it's probably not that much worse than being a Rock type, but it's not good. So yeah, it covered a switch to Treads. It covered this Terra Poison. In my mind, he was never not going Terra Poison, and if he was Terra Water, then like that would have been crazy. But Screamtail would have lived his hits a lot more easily if he was Terra Water. Maybe not from this HP. That would have been kind of spooky, actually. But I cannot stay in for this Terra Blast because even though I think I live it with the Kebia Berry, I will be down to like very low HP. Even if I recover, I'm going to be like chilling at about 60%, and I have no Kebia Berry, so I will not survive the next. Thank God that ground types resist poison. So I come into Agent Wisdom, who takes a crit for 40. Does it matter? I don't know. I feel like, I mean, it maybe Grafaiais now gets a kill with Gunk Shot. I'm not sure. Maybe I could have lived move from Iron Treads. I don't know. In any case, this was a good switch for me. I don't know what he's thinking that I'm gonna do with this Agent Wisdom here, but I am Scarf and I get the Earthquake off. So that kills the Ancestor Spirit, and I can breathe a little easier. Except he goes into Annihilate here, so I cannot breathe at all. He's probably going for U-turn, is my thought. But if he doesn't, then my Wisdom just dies. He goes for Close Combat to get a 21% here. Possibly a roll to kill me on the next turn, which is super duper scary. I'm going to lose Agency Pyramid. But I think to myself here, actually, if I'm in versus a Scarfed Annihilate, and he clicks, he just clicks Close Combat again and kills me, I can go to Volcarona and Quiver Dance up and just sweep the rest of his team. I know his Treads isn't Akaberry because it is, well, it's clearly Covert Cloak, and Grafaiais doesn't get a one-shot kill on me with any move, and I am definitely threatening kills with +1 Fiery Dance, as well as Psychic. Now, since his Grafaiais has since his Grafaiais probably has Encore, I can't really Quiver Dance, even if I get in my Volcarona versus the Annihilate. I'm gonna have to click probably Fiery Dance, which will do quite a bit to Grafaiais. It would kill the Annihilate if it stayed in, and it would absolutely body bag the Iron Treads. So actually, I'm totally fine to lose the Agency Pyramid here. If he decides that he wants to switch, I'm just clicking Recover so I can get my HP back, which might help me win against maybe the Grafaiais, since I still have the Kevia Berry. But he thinks all this through, so he goes to Iron Treads, which is probably the best play for him right here. I don't want to stay in, so I don't want to stay in and get an Iron Head. So I switched to Mothman. This is probably my hardest read here. If he clicked Stone Edge, it would kill Mothman for sure. If he clicked Earthquake as a mid-ground play, which I'm not sure if he has Earthquake yet, but I'm assuming he probably has Earthquake as his last move. That will do a lot of damage to Mothman, and I don't outspeed, so I'd be in trouble. I think it'll do about half, maybe a little over. There's definitely a good chance he 2-hit KOs. So that would be really bad for me, but he clicks Iron Head like I expect. I don't take that much damage from it, and I get the burn, which is what I was fishing for, which completely neutralizes this threat. I'm no longer that scared of him. I can go to Agent Wisdom here, and take absolutely nothing from any of his attacks, and go for a Scarf Earthquake to get tons of nice damage here. If he goes to Grafaiais, I'm threatening a 2-hit KO. Now, don't tell anybody this, but I actually only hit 349 speed, so if he was max speed on the Grafaiais, he actually would have outsped me and probably got a Gunk Shot off and maybe killed. But we don't know for sure that he was max speed on that Grafaiais. He probably wasn't. Let's be real. But he's just gonna let the burned Iron Treads go down, which is really good for me. He comes into Annihilate, I'm thinking to myself, okay, the moves that Annihilate could go for is Close Combat, Shadow Claw, U-Turn, or Final Gambit. If he goes for Final Gambit, then I want to sack Wisdom here, because Wisdom doesn't give me the best chances to win, per se. I can probably win with my last 3 against Grafaiais. If he goes for U-Turn, none of my other Pokemon match up particularly great against Grafaiais. I could have maybe went Mothman. That would have fished for another burn on Annihilate, and I would have been in versus Grafaiais. I think I live a gunk shot from 75. In fact, that actually probably would have been the play. Yeah, looking back at this, that would have been the play. Damn, can't believe I missed that. But I didn't know if he was gonna Shadow Claw, and Shadow Claw would have been really bad if I switched Mothman in there, so I didn't want to risk that. I'm gonna let Wisdom go down here, and then he goes to Grafaiais. So now I'm gonna go to the Agency Pyramid, and I'm going to try to heal myself here. So he misses his first gunk shot. Very huge for me, because I'm going to get back to max HP here. I get encored into another recover here. This is bad. I can't stay in. I go to Volk. He gunk shots. I take 49. I don't get poisoned, which is good. He misses another gunk shot, and I get psychic damage off for 81. He hits his last gunk shot, which means that I have to go basically to the Agency Pyramid here. I live with the Kebia Berry. I live anyway, but I live with a lot of HP with the Kebia Berry. And then we come into Annihilate. Now Annihilate, the only move that Annihilate can really hit Agency Pyramid with at this point is Final Gambit, but if he clicks Final Gambit, he loses the game. So he goes for Shadow Claw, and I recover, and he goes for Shadow Claw because he's scarfed, and I curse, and then the game is basically over here. I'll let it play out, but I definitely want to go back to this end game and analyze it here. I think I misplayed it, to be honest. This will be pretty quick here. I'll win right on turn 40, and that's GG. Let's go back. We'll go back to the turn that Whiscash dies here. Now he goes to Grafaiais. Here, I should have went to 100%. I should have went to Mothman. Mothman's Psychic, as we saw, does 81, and even if he hits his gunk shot against me, like I have a chance to crit. He has a chance. He would have a chance to miss. It gave me probably the best chance to win, because if Agency Pyramid is alive with one other Pokemon on my team, then I will beat this Annihilate for sure. But there's also kind of the there's a little bit of danger because my Agency Pyramid has some damage, but it shouldn't matter because of the Kebia Berry. Even with the crit, I will survive, and Annihilate's strongest move, Close Combat, should not do enough to knock me out. I don't think. I'll be at 54. I would take... Well, no, if he gets a crit... If he gets a crit, then things get dicey. That's for sure. But since I didn't go for Volcarona here, I I'm in here. If he gunk shots me, that would bring me down to about 20% and use up my Kebia Berry. I go up to about 70 or so percent, meaning I do live another gunk shot. But I'm gonna have to switch out, and I'm also gonna take rocks damage if I come back in. I probably had a chance to lose there. Now he goes for Encore. On a turn that I was going to go for Curse. If he gunk shots again, I think he gets the most out of the play because it would use up my Kebia Berry. If I'm cursing, yes, I take less damage from gunk shot, but he can Encore me again and I'll be kind of stuck. I don't know how things would play out as I'm boosting my defense and how many gunk shots he would have to miss for me to lose this exchange. I don't know. That's definitely a misplay by me to go for Curse, but I mean, we won't see it because he encored me. I should have just clicked Earthquake if I was going to stay in, or Salt Cure. Since he's clicking Encore here, if I had went to Mothman there, I actually salvaged the position. It's an even better position because my Agency Pyramid has more HP and didn't use up the Kevia Berry. But I didn't go for it, so I'm playing super duper bad here. And then I go to Mothman, where a gunk shot hits. He misses this gunk shot. If he hits this gunk shot here, I might lose this game. Per his set, it's only a roll for me to kill with it's only a roll for me to 2-hit KO with Earthquake. I think it's also a roll for him to 2-hit KO me with Gunk Shot, and he would have to hit both Gunk Shots against the Garg. And I don't know. It's a tough scenario. If I also switched Agent Peepers into a Gunk Shot, he missed. I could protect to make his last Gunk Shot, basically use up his last Gunk Shot, and then I have a win there. It definitely did come down to some hacks. If he hit literally every Gunk Shot, maybe if he only missed like 1 or 2 at strategic points, he would have probably won this game, which is very spooky for me. I should have just went to Mothman here, instead of the Agency Pyramid, to come in for Agent Wisdom. That gave me the best chances to win the game if I did it like that. But I mean, I played the game the way I did. I got rewarded. I don't feel like I played badly before that. I did get rewarded with a nice crit on the Talonflame, and I didn't get burned there. I also burned the Iron Treads. I think those plays, they're lucky. You could say it's hacks, but those plays to me feel like trying to take advantage of an opportunity, and if the luck plays out for me, I get something great out of it. I don't think, even if I didn't get this burn here, I think Agent Wisdom cleans up the Iron Treads anyway. it's better for me, I think, to come in on. Well, I don't know if it's better to come in on a Stone Edge because if he hits it, it's still more damage than Iron Head. But if I go to Iron Moth, Mothman, I'm forcing him to click Stone Edge. He can't click Earthquake, which would be the best move to hit my Agent Wisdom with. But yeah, I come in on an advantageous move, which is Stone Edge or Iron Head. He may not have had Earthquake. I'm not sure. I'm really not sure what his last move was. But Wisdom would have still cleaned up the Iron Treads. So I'm fine with that. I think going to Mothman was the right play. Even fishing for the burn is good, and I got it, which is good. But I think even if I didn't get it, that was still the best play. I mean, I guess I could have went hard Wisdom. Yeah, I guess I could have, because I'm getting Earthquakes off. I anticipate he didn't want to give up Annihilate because his win con was to Final Gambit on my last Mon. Even though getting a nice Earthquake off on it, I don't know. I really don't know. I really don't know what he would have done if I just went hard Wisdom. I think he probably would have still sacked the Treads. I don't think he wants to sack the Grafaiais. Yeah. I'll still stand by my Volcarona play, and then the the crit on Talonflame, like we've discussed, it definitely helped, but it's not clear necessarily who would have won or taken advantage of the position if I didn't get that crit. What I care more about is I didn't get burned again. That was the most important thing for me, because the rock stays a threat, which means he has to go to his Walking Wake to kill it. So those bits of luck, that I'm totally fine with that. I think that was those were scenarios of opportunity meets a dice roll, and I was there and I hit the dice roll. Now these bits of luck were not the same thing. That was kind of unoptimal play being helped out by some bits of hacks. And that's probably the worst way to lose a game. That's probably the worst way to win a game as well. Now that I see that I had a win that didn't involve hacks at all, like basically if he didn't crit Gunk Shot, I mean, he still wouldn't have killed, I don't think, if he crit Gunk Shot. Would he have? It would have been a roll. It would have been a roll. If he high roll crit my Mothman, then I would have shot the computer. But if I just went hard Mothman and got my Psychic off, then Agency Pyramid comes in, cleans up with a Earthquake, and Annihilate cannot lock itself into a move to beat the Agency Pyramid. That's how this game should have went at the end. That's how I should have played it. I didn't play it like that. I opened up my opponent for a chance to win the game, and I just got lucky and saved myself. So I don't feel too great about how it ended, but I do feel good about how I played the first part of the game. So I'm gonna take the win. Nothing we can do about it now. I'm definitely scared to run into this team in playoffs. I hope he gets knocked out by what's the name? The Azus. So I don't have to deal with them. But if it doesn't happen that way, I will keep some things in mind. I might make a trade or two to try to help myself against this team if I ever have to play it against it again. super duper scary, super well played by truly Alex O. I think it was unfortunate that he had to match up into the Azus and me back to back, but those should be the hardest 2 games of the season out for him, and I anticipate him to win out. If he doesn't win out, then I'm gonna clown him, but as it stands, great game, and I hope to have other great games that are not quite as close. See you all for when I do the reaction to the rest of the games.
いやいや、才能の原石ども、運とは何かか、なかなか香ばしい議題じゃないか。
運は運だ。偶然以外の何者でもないだろ
う。まずは一つ問う。お前らは鳩に糞を落とされたことはあるか？で、かかった後になって気づくん。足元にはいっぱい糞が落ちてて、でも先に気づけてれば避けられたこの事象、運が悪かったと言えるか？
だからなんだよさっきから。
運はどこにでも存在するものじゃなく、落ちる場所にいるものにしか舞い降りない。フットボールは90分間に起こる必然と偶然の連続だと考える。この最後のシーンがそれだ。16番がドリブルで抜け出してシュートに向かうこの瞬間、突破を読んで走り続けていた15番以外は、1番はスピードを落とすところか15番の方へ加速した。シュートが弾かれるという偶然の発生にかけて走り続けたんだ。
ちょっと待ってよ。ボールがそこに落ちてきたのはたまたまだろ。誰のところにも落ちる可能性はあったじゃん。
そうだよ。でもそれはただマイボールになるっていう可能性でしょ。仮に1番があの時周りと同じように減速していたとしよう。確かにそこにもボールは飛んできたかもしれない。シュートする前に敵のディフェンスがワンアクションで届いてしまう。当たりが引ける場所でただ一人運を待ったんだ。偶然に対する心構えができてないんだから、いつでも掴み取れるように己を高め、そんな嗅覚を持つ人間にしか運の女神は微笑まない。サッカーには運も偶然もあるんだよ。運に翻弄されているうちはまだ二流だ。真に戦う人間にのみ運は平等に降り続ける。